Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. This time we're focusing on something I know you're interested in electric vehicles.
Yeah.
Specifically a recall.
Okay.
Yeah. The Audi E-Tron GT,
Interesting.
a popular electric car.
Uh-huh.
We'll be taking a look at a recall notice from carrecalls.eu.
Okay.
It's a European website that keeps track of these things.
I see.
And you might think,
Yeah.
a recall?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound that fun.
Right.
But it's not just about some faulty cars. This deep dive is going to give us a glimpse into the world of EV manufacturing,
Interesting.
especially the challenges of keeping things safe with all this new technology.
Yeah. I think what's really interesting here is how this recall shows just how complex EV manufacturing is,
Yeah.
especially with battery technology.
Okay, so before we get into all that,
Sure.
let's set the stage.
Okay.
The Audi E-Tron GT,
Yeah.
for those who haven't seen it,
Right.
it's like Audi's big luxury EV.
Yeah. Like their flagship.
Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be the future.
Yeah.
Sleek design, great
Mhm.
performance.
Uh-huh.
But now there's this recall.
So what's going on?
Yeah.
Well, it affects both the e-tron GT
Uh-huh.
and the Sporty RS version.
Okay.
And get this, it covers cars made from January 2020 to February 2024.
Really?
Yeah, like 4 years.
Oh, that's a long time for a recall.
Yeah, it's pretty unusual for something this big.
And it's not a small number of cars either.
No, it's worldwide.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a significant number.
Okay, so give it to me straight, Doc.
You're right.
What's the problem?
Battery module anomalies.
Oh, that sounds technical.
Yeah, it basically means there's a fire risk.
Whoa. Okay, hold on. So inside the e-tron GT,
Yeah.
the battery modules have some production issues.
Right, like torn anode tabs,
Okay.
folded cathode tabs,
Okay.
even peeled off cathodes.
Those are all important parts, right?
Yeah, these are vital components.
So they weren't put together right.
In some cases, yeah.
So
yeah.
little imperfections can lead to big problems
Exactly. These little flaws create tiny cracks.
in the battery.
Yeah, the pouches with the battery materials.
Okay.
And over time, they can spread.
Oh, no.
It's a domino effect.
So it starts small, but...
It can build up heat
Uh-huh.
and maybe even a short circuit.
And that could cause a fire.
Right.
It's like a chain reaction.
Precisely. And it shows how hard it is to make these batteries.
Yeah, especially with so many EVs being made now.
Yeah, it's not like hand-making furniture.
Right.
These batteries are complex. Thousands of tiny parts.
And they all have to be perfect.
Yes,
Really?
absolute precision.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure.
It is. And with demand growing,
Right.
we're talking millions of batteries.
So it's like baking a cake.
Uh-huh.
But instead of a soggy bottom, you're worried about it bursting into flames.
I like that analogy.
Thanks.
But you're right, the stakes are much higher with EV batteries.
For sure. And this Audi recall shows that even small mistakes
Uh-huh.
can have huge consequences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so this is serious. What's Audi doing about it?
They've taken responsibility.
Yep.
They issued the recall, and they're telling owners
Yeah,
to contact a dealer.
to get it checked out.
Yeah, inspected
Yeah.
and maybe even replaced.
So they are trying to fix it.
Yes, definitely.
But this whole thing makes me wonder about the future of EV batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Is this just a bump in the road?
That's a good question.
Or is it a sign of bigger problems?
Well, on the one hand, it
Yeah.
shows how hard it is to make lots of batteries
Yeah,
quickly and well.
right.
But battery technology is always changing.
That's true.
Researchers are always working on new materials and techniques.
To make them better.
Yeah, safer and more efficient.
So this recall could actually lead to more innovation,
I think so.
like pushing everyone to make better and safer batteries.
Yeah, it's a reminder that as we move towards electric vehicles, safety has to be the top priority.
Right? We need to make sure these cars
Right.
are not just stylish and fun to drive,
Yeah.
but also totally safe
Absolutely.
for everyone.
For sure.
Okay, so we've talked about the recall
Yeah.
and what it means for the future of EV batteries.
Right.
But let's bring it back to you, the listener.
Okay.
What does this all mean for you?
Well, this recall is specific to Audi, but
Right.
it does raise questions about battery safety for all EVs.
I see.
So it's important to do your research.
Before you buy an EV,
Yes. And ask the right questions.
don't be scared off by this recall.
No, not at all.
Just be more informed
Exactly. Use this as a chance to learn more.
about the technology.
Yeah, don't let this one incident
Yeah.
overshadow the potential of electric vehicles.
Okay.
But do use it to learn about EV safety and make smart choices.
So knowledge is power.
Absolutely. The more you know,
Yeah.
the better choices you can make.
That's great advice.
Thanks.
This has been really informative so far.
Good.
But we're not done yet.
Oh.
In part 2, we'll look at the rules and regulations around EV safety and what this recall means for the entire car industry.
Can't wait. Stay tuned.
I will.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
So this whole recall thing got me thinking about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You know, like what kind of safeguards are there to make sure EV batteries are safe? Are there like rules and regulations that manufacturers have to follow?
Absolutely. The automotive industry is heavily regulated, especially when it comes to batteries. You can't just throw things together and hope for the best.
Right.
It's like building a house.
Yeah.
There are codes and standards you have to meet.
So who sets those standards?
It's kind of mixed. You have international standards that provide a framework, like a baseline for safety. But then each country or region often has its own specific regulations, too.
So, like, on top of that.
Right, exactly. For instance, in Europe, there's a regulation called UNES R100, which focuses on the safety of EV batteries.
Interesting. What about here in the U.S.?
In the U.S., the NHTSA.
What's that stand for again?
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Right, of course.
They play a big role in regulating vehicle safety.
Including EVs.
Absolutely. They have standards specifically for high-voltage batteries.
So they cover things like...
how they hold up in a crash, resistance to fire, preventing electrical shock.
So minimizing risk.
Exactly.
So there's a whole system in place to make sure these batteries are safe.
Right.
But this Audi recall kind of throws a wrench in that, doesn't it?
It does raise some questions for sure.
Yeah.
Regulations are thorough, but this shows there's always room for improvement.
I guess technology is always evolving.
It is.
And maybe regulations need to catch up.
Yeah, this recall might push regulators to look at existing standards again.
Yeah.
Maybe make testing stricter.
To make cars safer.
Exactly.
So it's like a constant back and forth.
Yeah, like a game of cat and mouse.
Technology pushing ahead. And regulations trying to keep up.
You got it. And these recalls...
as much as they're a pain... they're an important part of that.
They are. They're like a feedback loop, showing regulators and car makers where the weak spots are.
And they can improve things.
Exactly.
It's a learning experience for everyone.
It really is.
So we've talked about regulations. What about the other car companies?
Yeah.
How do you think they're reacting to this?
I think it's a wake-up call for the whole industry.
You think so?
Even if they aren't using the same batteries as Audi, this situation shows that problems can happen.
Anywhere.
Yeah, in any manufacturing process.
It's like finding a weak spot in your armor.
I like that.
Thanks.
You want to reinforce it even if you haven't been attacked there yet.
Right. Makes sense. So it's not just about Audi fixing this one problem. It's about the whole EV industry looking at their own processes.
Exactly. They'll be looking at every step.
Of making the batteries.
Yeah, scrutinizing everything, looking for weak links.
And that's not just to avoid another recall.
No, it's bigger than that.
It's about keeping people's trust in EVs.
Absolutely. Yeah. If people lose faith in the safety of EVs, that could hurt the whole movement.
It would set everyone back.
For sure.
And nobody wants that.
Not when EVs have so much potential.
To change transportation.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
So what can these companies do?
Transparency is key.
Okay.
They need to be upfront with consumers.
Yeah.
Admit there's an issue and explain how they're fixing it.
So take ownership and show they're serious about safety.
Exactly. It's about reassuring people
that EVs are still a good option.
Right. A safe option for the future.
Okay, so we've talked about regulations.
Yes.
And the impact on other car companies. And the importance of being transparent.
It's all connected.
But before we move on, what's the main takeaway for our listeners?
Be informed.
Okay.
Don't let this recall scare you away from EVs, but use it to become more knowledgeable.
About EVs in general?
Yes. Research different models.
Okay.
Compare safety records and ask questions.
Don't be afraid to ask.
Exactly. The more you know, the better decisions you can make.
So don't panic. Just be proactive.
I like that.
That's great advice. Well, that's it for part 2.
Already.
But don't worry, there's still more to come.
Oh, good.
In part 3, we'll look at the future of EV battery technology.
Cool.
And some exciting innovations that could solve these safety concerns.
Can't wait.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive, everybody. We've gone through this E-Tron GT recall pretty thoroughly.
Yeah, we have.
From the manufacturing problems to the rules and regulations and the effects on other companies.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, but now let's look ahead. What's next for EV batteries?
The future is pretty exciting.
Is it?
Yeah, despite this recall.
Okay.
There's a lot of innovation happening.
So what's in the pipeline?
What's cooking in the labs?
Yeah, what could change the game? Especially when it comes to safety.
Well, one of the most promising things is solid-state batteries.
Solid-state batteries. I've heard of those.
Yeah.
But I don't really get what makes them so special.
Right. So think about the batteries we have now.
Like in the E-Tron.
Yeah, those are lithium-ion batteries.
Uh-huh.
They use a liquid electrolyte.
Electrolyte. What's that?
It's a liquid that lets the ions flow.
Ions?
Yeah, between the anode and cathode.
Okay.
That's how the battery stores and releases energy.
Kind of remember that from chemistry.
Yeah. But the problem is that liquid can be dangerous.
Oh, how so?
It's flammable. And if the battery gets damaged, it can catch fire.
Like we talked about.
Right, exactly.
So solid-state batteries are different.
They use a solid electrolyte.
Okay, so no flammable liquid.
Exactly, much safer.
So why aren't we all using them already?
Good question.
What's the holdup?
They're hard to make on a large scale, and they're expensive.
There's always a catch.
But don't worry, there's a lot of research going on.
That's good.
Companies are investing heavily in solid-state batteries.
So they're betting on the future.
Some experts think we'll see them in cars.
Really?
Yeah, within the next few years.
Wow, so we could be close to a big breakthrough in battery tech.
I think so.
That would be amazing.
Especially for safety.
Yeah, that would be a huge step forward.
And there's another cool thing.
Oh, there's more?
Yeah, smart battery management systems.
Okay, that sounds pretty futuristic.
It is. Think of them as the brain of the battery.
The brain.
They use sensors and algorithms to constantly monitor the battery's performance.
Interesting, like a little computer.
Exactly. They make sure the battery is working properly.
And not getting overworked.
Yeah, exactly, like a fitness tracker.
Oh, cool. So they can help prevent those failures that lead to recalls.
Yes. They can detect warning signs early on.
Like a canary in the coal mine.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can alert the driver.
Or even take action themselves.
To prevent a problem.
Exactly. It's a safety net for your battery.
That's awesome. So we've got these solid-state batteries on the way. And these smart management systems getting even smarter.
It's a good time to be interested in EVs.
Yeah, the future sounds bright.
And it doesn't stop there.
Oh, there's even more.
Researchers are also looking at sustainable batteries.
That's important.
Yeah, using eco-friendly materials.
Okay.
And better recycling processes.
So it's not just about performance.
Right. It's about the whole life cycle of the battery.
Making sure it's good for the planet.
Exactly. Holistic approach.
This is really fascinating stuff.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
So before we sign off, what's the one big takeaway?
Don't let this recall overshadow the progress in the EV world.
There are challenges.
But the future is exciting.
It is. There's so much potential.
And as we talked about, staying informed is key.
Absolutely. Ask questions. Do your research and stay curious.
We're all on this journey together.
We are towards a more electric future.
And the more we know,
the better it'll be.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's been great having you.
It's been fun.
This has been another deep dive.
Until next time.
Catch you all in the next one.